Welcome to Class Soulmates. My name is Justice from the Honest Fashion Academy. So this is what we're going to be making in this video. The exact thing you're seeing in this video is what we're going to be making. So if you'd like to see how it is made, please kindly stay tuned to the end of this video and also subscribe for more interesting video. Welcome to the Honest Academy. Thank you. Okay, so wait, for us to make this beautiful gown we saw on the thumbnail, here I have 3 yards of fabric. This is like a poly fabric, but it's the light one. It might not be the same texture with what is in the picture, but this is what I was able to get. So I have 3 yards of it here, and I'm going to first of all cut the lower part. So whatever that is remaining, I'll use it for the upper part. And then we have the shirt material for the upper part too. Okay, so I have 3 yards of fabric, and I'm going to be cutting the flare in a 180-degree form, that is half circle um flare. So I folded this fabric into two. I folded it into two, and I'm going to create a triangle with it like this. Of course, one part is going to be longer than the other, but if it's not going to be the length that I want, I'll still have to join it. But for now, this is what we have. So for the calculation, we're going to get the waist circumference and then the length of the skirt. The waist circumference and the length of the skirt. So mates, the waist circumference I'm working with is 41. That is, the waist is 40 plus 1 inch zipper allowance. That is 41, right? So I'm going to divide 41. Since this is half circle, we're going to divide it by 3.14. Dividing it by 3.14, we're going to have 13.5, right? Then the length of the skirt is 31. Okay, the length of the skirt is 31. So what we're going to do is 13.5 plus 31, and that will give us 44.5. 44.5, and then the hemming allowance below, we're going to add 1 inch to it, making it 45.5. So from this point, I'm going to measure 45.5, 45.5. I know this is longer, but I don't want to be arranging. So I'm marking 45.5 from the top. 45.5. Half circles are usually divided in 3.14. Full circle 6.28. So I'm going to mark it right round. In case you need more clarification on everything that has to do with circle, the link is in the description box. We have detailed tutorial on how to go about different kinds of lace. So I'm going to cut this now and then cut away the waist circumference. So I'm going to measure the circumference here, which is 13.5. I've already marked it from the tip of the triangle, 13.5 right round, right? And I'm going to cut that from the top of the markings. So here we have our circle skirt, And we're going to keep this aside and use what is left for the upper part of our gown. So we're going to use this to draft the upper part, and we're going to see on the drafting table. So here I'm going to be drafting the upper part. From the shoulder points, I will mark my waistline, the under bust, and the bust line. Then from the bust line, I came up by 1.5 to mark my armhole depth. Okay, this is another method you can use to get your armhole depth. So I'll mark the shoulder width, normal shoulder divide by 2, 1.5. Sorry, normal shoulder divide by 2, you mark the half of it, and then connect it to the armhole depth. So I came up by 3 inches, and the shoulder drop down is 1.5. The armhole width is 3 inches. Sorry, neck width is 3 inches. Neck depth is 3 inches, 3 by 3. So I'll connect and also connect the necklines together. Okay, so this is what we have. Then I'm going to mark my bust circumference divide by 4. I'll mark on both armhole and bust line, and at the armhole I came in by 0.75, like so. I'll connect it to my bust um measurement, just trying to get it the way it's supposed to be. Okay, if there's any excess, you clean it up. So connect this bust measurement together. I will equally measure for um my bust circumference, my bust span, nipple to nipple measurement, divide by 2, no addition right here, divide by 2, and then I will take the waist dart intake. Okay, half inch on both sides. This is more like a ready to wear, so I'm not going to be taking so much dart. So my waist circumference divided by 4, I marked and connected it to my bust line. So on the under bust, I just want to have a little to round up to curve it. I'm not taking so much. Like I said, this is more like a ready to wear, so I will not tighten the under bust very well. I will not tighten it very well. I took like 0.75 on one side and left the other side the way it is. So the neck depth is what I'm marking here, depending on how deep you want the neckline. Okay, and of course it's going to have a yoke, so it depends on how you want it. So I'm going to give it a sweetheart neckline. So the upper bust tightening, I took half inch on both sides. Like I said, it's not supposed to be so tight, half inch on both sides, and then I connected to the sweetheart neckline. Just follow the process the way you're seeing it, and you're going to get it very well. Follow the way the curve is being set, and you're going to get it very well. So for the bust darts, I came down by the difference between the back length and the front length and connected it. Now I'll close the shoulder darts and then connect the lines together so that it will give me a nice curve, just the way I want it. Now all you have to do is to keep on placing and trying until you get exactly the way you want it. It's not a must that you just place once and you get it. Even after drawing and you feel like it's not giving you what you want, you can still redraw it. Okay, so I needed one part to be a bit higher than the other, and that is why I have to do it like so. Okay, now I've gotten what I wanted the way I want it. So endeavor to clean the wrong marking so that you'll be able to, or not to get confused with the right line that you need. Okay, so I use my hand to trace it up properly. Now it's time for um to adjust or look at it properly and see the way it is, in case there's any adjustment we're going to make. So connect this together so that when you cut it out, it will go on a straight line. So this is for the back. The shoulder line has been marked. Shoulder drop down is 1 inch instead of 1.5. Neck depth is 1 inch instead of 3 inches. Neck width is the same with the back. Armhole is the same with the front. Sorry, neck width is the same with the front. Armhole depth is the same with the front. Now the waist length is has a difference because you're going to follow the measurements. So connect the back armhole intake. There's not too much talk on the back side. Okay, divide your waist circumference by 4. Mark your darts for the back, ½ inch on both sides. Remember, the back length and the front length may not possibly be the same, and of course, to avoid zip bulge, you need to take the darts at the zip line and then add width back. For more clarifications, I have other videos on how to do this, and it's going to be straightforward. Or you watch our video on how to draft a basic bodice, and you're going to just understand everything the way it's supposed to. So the dart intake is 0.5 on both sides. Connect to the armhole depth. So the same thing I have for the front, that is what I'm going to have for the back, or that is how I want it for the back. The same neck depth for the back, that is what I'm having for the front, that is what I'm having for the back. Okay, and I'm going to tighten it at the up there, the connection between the two of them. So if you've not subscribed to this channel, please kindly do so. So what I just added back is the dart intake so that we don't have any shortage. Okay, we don't have any shortage. At the upper part, I might not be adding anything since the dart intake is not much, right? It's not much. And I'm glad this dress fits the owner very well. So this is the cutting. After cutting, I placed on the fabric. That is the yoke, the back, the front piece, adding your sewing allowance. So I'm going to just join all of this together. Okay, now this is the lining. I've joined the main fabrics and I've joined the lining. I've joined the main pieces together. I've also joined the lining. This lining stretches because the main garments where it's going to be placed also stretches. So if you're using a fabric that stretches, your lining should also stretch, right? So this is the main fabric. I've joined the yoke, I've joined everything together. I'm going to use the lining to cover the wrong edges for the main fabric, the red fabric. Okay, the other side I will not be covering it. So from the yoke, that is where the lining is going to be. I'll use it like so, as you can see, and cover this rough edge, especially if you padded it. It's okay if I leave it like this, it doesn't matter. But if you don't want to leave it like this, just for the sake of adding lining, you can still do it this way. Okay, and turn it over and it will look so beautiful. And this is the lower part. After joining, you can join everything together this way. I've not sewn it, I just use pin to hold them together, so that once I join the lining, I'll still put them together before joining and weaving it. And of course, I'm going to go to iron everything out and make sure it relaxes the way it's supposed to relax. Okay, you don't just sew without ironing. The main fabric stretches and the lining also should have to stretch, but it's not a must I add lining. I just decided to add lining because the fabric is kind of light for the upper part. So here is the sleeve for the garment. Now the sleeve has a slight opening at the sleeve at the on the men's side of the hand. Okay, that's why I need to. Anyway, I hope you understand what I'm saying. So I slanted it so that it drops a little. This is just what the sleeve looks like. Anyway, since I'm talking too much, so we have the collar, divide the neck circumference, divide by 2. That is what I've just marked. Raise it up by half an inch or 1 inch. Raise it up by 1 inch. Here I did 1 inch. Okay, find the middle of the neck um measurements on paper and connect it to there, like so. So from this line now, measure the actual height of the collar, 1 inch, and I'll measure the 1 inch all round. That is where my cutting is going to start from. This is where my cutting is going to start from, and I'll connect it like so with a very slight curve. I'll connect it the way it is. So you can either curve this part or just keep it straight. I decided to keep it straight. And that is the pattern I'm going to use to cut my collar for the dress. The good thing is that the owner of this dress loved it so much. Okay, so I'll cut it on fabric, add my sewing allowance, 1 inch on that part, half inch on up and down. As you can see, I'm going to cut 2 of this so that I can use one to serve as the lining and the other as the main fabric. So make sure it's smooth and good. So I'll cut 2 pieces of this, and this is what we have. Sorry I did not show us the joining, but to the extent we've gone, thank you for watching. In another video, I'm going to illustrate how to fix a bishop collar like this. Hope you loved this video. Thank you. Subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in another video. Thanks for watching. This is the outcome. So beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful. Thank you so much for watching.